Okay, so in this video, we're going to talk about two different things that we need to do in order to keep ourselves well when we're going through hypervigilance. So you might be wondering, what can we do when our bodies are having such a reaction to being in crisis mode? Really and truly, it means we need to go back to the basics. So what are the basics usually? The three most basic ways that we can regulate emotion are through eating, sleeping, and exercise. So we really want to make sure that we can focus on those three things specifically. So anything that's going to disrupt those things, those are going to be the three things that you really need to make sure you have like a hyper focus on, trying to make sure that you get them to happen on a regular basis, because they're the three things that are going to help you keep your stuff together when things are really, really stressful. Sometimes what it takes is us being able to recognize that the three things that we need to do the most are going to be the things that are going to give us the longest longevity. And sometimes I think what happens is we don't know what's actually going to make us feel better, because there's so many things going on that we have a hard time figuring out which things to focus on and which things we can actually control. So this is where I think a little bit of problem solving comes in. In terms of like what you need to do on a daily basis, the biggest thing is that since you're going into a fight or flight response on a regular basis at work, the first thing you need to do is when you come home, besides having your shower when you get through the door, is actually engage in some physical activity. Now, I know that nobody wants to do that when they first come home from work, but the reality is that this is the fundamental thing that's going to help you to get all of that adrenaline that's built up in your body over the day out of your system. Now, the only way that we can ever do that is by using exercise as a tool to do that. So, having said all of that, you need to pick something that's going to be within the limits of what you can do. So, it doesn't matter how big you are or how small you are or how athletic you are or non-athletic you are. You need to make sure that you can pick something that you can do to get your heart rate up. So even if it's as simple as going for a brisk walk, and doing it instead of, the steps that you got while you were in the hospital, it has a very, very different intention around it. So the thing that we really want to be able to do after you've had some physical activity, some cardio, is to elicit the parasympathetic nervous system. Now, this is the part of our body that is responsible for bringing us back down and feeling more calm, and a lot of times eliciting sleep. So what we really want to do is try to focus on a way to bring that back down. So there are lots of different ways that people do this, but one of the major ones is to elicit some sort of form of relaxation exercise. And one of the major tenets of a relaxation exercise is that there's deep breathing. So part of bringing your parasympathetic nervous system back down is engaging in bringing oxygen into your body. So what you want to do is try and get deep breaths as much as you can. And so one of those things is really just on your inhale, making sure that your stomach goes out so that your diaphragm is lifted. And usually an inhale of, say, 4 seconds, and then an exhale of, say, 7 seconds. There's a few different places that you can find these types of relaxation exercises, especially on different types of apps, like Calm or Headspace. But I do want to make the distinction that this is not the same as doing mindfulness exercises. The intention here is really about the deep breathing and engaging in something that allows your body to relax. For a lot of people, doing some type of meditation can actually elicit feelings that stir up lots of scattered thoughts in their brains, and that's not the intention in this case. So, if you're a person who feels like you can't focus, there are two different types of relaxation exercises that I think are for you. One is called progressive muscle relaxation, which involves tensing and relaxing major muscle groups while you breathe. And the second one is guided imagery. So this allows you to kind of imagine yourself being in a particular place while you engage in deep breathing, so that you don't have the opportunity to have your brain kind of be flooding around thinking about all kinds of different things. Now, the last thing to consider is that we actually really do need to find ways to connect. And so there are a couple things to really think about here. One is that, when you're with your colleagues at work, there should be an opportunity for you to be able to talk with some people about what is going on. Now, I really want to stress that there's a big intention behind the way that you do this. One of the things we always want to do is engage in kind of like a gripe fest. And that is actually what you really need to do, but you need to also be able to recognize at what point it becomes toxic. So what I try to tell people is when you're engaging in that with people that are in the field with you, is try and figure out how long you need to do that for, and be very intentional about that, and then try to switch to another topic. And this really allows you to have boundaries around the way that you discuss these types of topics. Now, I'm making this distinction because some of what happens is we need to be able to talk to other people about what is happening. And sometimes that means you need to be able to connect with your significant others or your loved ones. And so there may be opportunities where you feel that you're disconnecting from your family. And these are important times to be able to tell them about some of the things that are going on. And maybe it just takes a little bit more care around what kinds of things you tell them. If you feel that you don't want to talk to anybody about the things that are going on because there's so much that you're holding on to and it seems overwhelming, this is the point at which, going and seeing a therapist is actually really important, because there's a certain amount of this that you cannot carry on your own. You need to be able to disperse it and put it out somewhere else. The one thing that I can leave you with is knowing that the reason that therapy works is because we don't sit in silence. It is the silence of not having those shared experiences and not having someone connect with us and empathize with us that actually festers deep within us. And that's where the trauma kind of radiates from, is this place where the silence gets to your stories rather than letting it have air, having somebody hear it so that it can set you free. So I'm just going to leave you with those 3 things to focus on. Exercise right after your shift, doing some sort of relaxation exercise to bring yourself down, and finding times to vent about the things that are going on, whether that is with a colleague, whether that is with a loved one, or whether that is through therapy. And you might need all 3 of those. So just keep that in mind. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I would love to hear from you if you have any feedback. Please feel free to comment below or reach out to me at my website, www.sarahghorsford.com, or you can shoot me an email at video@sarahghorsford.com. And also, if you like the things that you're hearing about, please subscribe. And I look forward to hearing from you in the future. In the meantime, take care of yourself and each other.